Oh, you had to get your cup in, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Good morning, guys.
Hello.
We're still in Spain, and the weather outside today is not as good as it was recently. Or maybe we're just making it out like it is so that we don't annoy him like we've annoyed him in the last few.
Yeah, there's been a lot of sunshine up to now, but we're just about to go round the corner to the west coast. So
Yeah.
I think the weather's due to change a little bit.
Yeah, the Atlantic's pushing through now. How are you finding your Van Neos security camera? That is the little square camera in my video about van security, and we find it's fantastic. Use it whenever we leave the van, either to look at Cooper, or if Coop's with us, we can just leave it in the van to monitor the van while we're away. If we leave a window open, we can monitor Greg's van as well. So it works out all right, that.
Yeah, I've been watching John with his notifications on his phone, and you can watch Coopy in the van when we're off somewhere. I think it's brilliant. I think I'm going to get one myself, to be honest.
Pretty cool. The next one, I'll let you answer this one, Greg, because I've tried a couple of times and no one's got it. Why don't we use wind generators when we're out camping?
Yeah, the main thing is you can't guarantee you're always going to get windy conditions. At least with solar, it's always going to be daylight every day, and you don't need direct sunlight. Even in the daylight you do get some charge. Whereas with wind generators, it's not always windy, so you can't guarantee getting a charge. It's okay for marine use and on boats, because 9 times out of 10 they're motoring along or sailing along. It's perfect for those conditions, and that's what they're really created for. You know, they're created for the marine and boat industry. It's not really applicable to van life.
No, and I have explained it sometimes to people that the vibration and the anchoring needed would be just too surreal for what you can actually.
Yeah, I can imagine with that spinning around like a lunatic on the roof of your van, it's going to be horrendous, isn't it? Yeah.
But bad idea, methinks. The next one we'll can both answer is, how do we fund our travels? You first.
Yeah, sure. Initially, we saved for quite some time. Lou and I were both in full-time employment, so we put quite a lot of money away to fund us for the first year without any other external sources of income. That's how we started our trip. Obviously we get a small amount of ad revenue off of YouTube, and we also get a small amount of revenue from affiliate links for products and things like that. We don't have any sponsorship deals with any companies at all. We had a few products that were given to us while we were doing our build, but other than that, really at the moment it's savings, small amount of YouTube revenue and a small amount of affiliate revenue. Yeah, that's what we live off.
Right, kind of related to the same sort of thing is how long are we travelling for, and what is our end plan? And that mixes in with the next person's question. So will you ever buy a house at the end of your travel?
Well, we've currently been out of our house for about over 18 months now. We haven't travelled the whole time. But yeah, we're just happy to travel as long as we're still enjoying it. I think that's the main thing. We haven't got an end date. We're just going to keep on travelling until we're fed up with travelling, I think. And then in terms of coming back to the UK, yeah, no doubt we'll definitely come back to the UK and set up a base. Whether that means buying a house or renting a place, I'm not too sure at this time.
Yeah, ours is kind of like, I think people are saying this because we may have shot ourselves in the foot on our first video saying we're selling a house. We said, we might do it for a year or two and see how it goes. So I think people have said, it's not a permanent thing then. I think in our kind of minds at the time was we were setting our own goals to achieve as much kind of travel as we want in a year or two, and then after that see how it goes. The reality of it is we keep talking about places we want to go to, so I don't think I'll ever stop travelling.
Yeah, what is there, like, even in Europe, there's 52 countries in Europe. I mean, you could travel for years and years and only still scratch the surface of places to go to. So
yeah, I think from our point of view, we did speak about getting a static caravan, which we'd use as a base in the UK, and also like holidays, family and stuff like that. And I think that's what we'll still do. As for buying a house or renting a house when we get back, we'll see how it goes with the static really. But yeah, I think open-ended is the travel plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we can. The next one's probably just for me. This is a question related to our old van, the VW T6, and this van, the Fiat Ducato. and it is: do we prefer the standing space of the Ducato over the ease of parking the T6? The T6, you could park that anywhere, even sort of like underground parking, because it was 1.9 meters, so it just about fitted everywhere. But I think in the reality, I've got to say no, the standing space of this van far outweighs the ease to park, because we were talking about this earlier, about parking takes up maybe 20 minutes, half an hour of the day at very worst. So you've got 23.5 hours where the standing space counts, or the internal space counts.
I think personally, I mean, I've looked at like T6s and VWs and things like that, and they're good for maybe a day van or weekend van, but if you're living in them permanently, that not being able to stand up must be difficult.
It's certainly the reason why we changed anyway. So here's one for you, Greg. Put your technical voice on for this one. Please explain the difference between bulk and float charge.
Okay, that's fairly easy really, I suppose. Yeah, bulk charge is your charger is trying to put as much power into your batteries as quickly as possible, because they're really low. So basically it'll be high amps, and it will try and bring the batteries up to charge level as quick as it can. That's bulk charging. And then once they've got to that level, and all the charger's trying to do is maintain that battery level, it then goes into like a trickle charge or float charge. So it drops the amps right off and just basically puts a small amount of charge in just to keep them topped up.
Yep. And I've seen people mistakenly buy the wrong charger for camper vans, because they buy a trickle charger.
Yeah, and it's not the right thing.
No.
Yeah, because obviously if you've drained your battery overnight or the day before and you want to recharge it really quickly, you need a bulk charge. You need to put as much amps into it as quickly as you can.
Next question. The Karcher window vacs that we use to take the condensation off the window, someone said, can I charge it off 12 volts? And we had a look the other day, because I need to do this because it's wasting energy on having the inverter on, and it's 4.5 volts and about, what was it, 800 milliamps or something like that.
It wasn't a lot.
No. So what I'm going to do is make a USB connector for it, because USB, so if you get a USB converter for your van, it takes 12 volts and takes it down to 5 volts for USB. So it should mean that off 5 volts I can charge it, even if it takes a little bit longer maybe to charge, but I think that'll be fine.
You can get also, I've got them in my van, little small DC to DC, it's like a voltage regulator. So you've got 12 volts coming into this little printed circuit board, and then on a little potentiometer you can dial in what voltage you want on the output side. Because I've used it as a dimmer for my LED lights.
Oh, right, okay.
Because when I put them in initially, they were really bright and they're too bright.
Right.
So I've got a little voltage regulator in line, and then dialed in a lower voltage, which has effectively dimmed the lights in the van.
Cool.
And they're literally buy them off eBay for £3 or £4, really cheap.
Seeing those. And here's another one for you. I think this was related to someone asking a question the other week about towing a motorbike trailer. And they said, what about if I have e-bikes on the back? And the question's related to that, and how can I charge my e-bikes? Again,
I mean, they'll obviously come with a 3-pin plug, which has usually got a transformer on them or some kind of mains charger. If you've got an inverter, you can obviously plug that into the inverter. Just check that the watts rating of your charger and your inverter is big enough to cope with that watts power. That's the simplest way to do it. Alternatively, have a look at what the output from that charger is and see if we can actually charge it from the 12 volt supply directly. Because similarly about what you were saying, to reduce 12 volts, even if your power brick is 19 volts, you can get the same power converter to take 12 volts to 19 volts as well. So you're still using your 12 volts rather than using the inverter. A lot of your electrical devices that you plug into a 3-pin socket normally run off a lot less voltage, don't they? So, you know, 12 to 19 volts or even less than that. And most of it's DC as well. 4 or 5 volts, exactly. So, and what that big brick that you're plugging into the wall does is just transforming that voltage down to a lower amount. So you can usually get rid of that and you know, either plug it in directly or use a little DC to DC voltage regulator or some little device anyway that'll allow you to connect it to your 12 volt power supply directly and do away with the mains and the inverter. What I'll do is I'll put a couple of links down below to something that you can dim
like the lights you're saying, with reduced 12 volts down to whatever.
Yeah.
And another one, which is something I bought for somebody else's laptop charger, which is a 12 volt to 19 volt regulator. And like I said, they were a few pounds off eBay, so I'll link them down below, just as examples. Don't buy them just to do whatever, just as examples as to what's available. And that's it for this week. So
okay.
Thank you very much for all your questions. Like I say, questions in the comments section below. I think some questions have been put on your videos as well, so I go and scan Greg's videos or Instagram or whatever you want to do, and hopefully the next time we'll catch you, we'll be back in the sun.
I'd be interested to know what you guys think of the format with me jumping in with John.
Yeah.
Just drop us a note in the comments below and just tell us if you're liking the current format.
Or should we get the girls to do it?
Yeah.
Right then, thanks very much for watching.
Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.